Hello and welcome, everyone. We are live. We are live, so come on in. I promise not to be before you long. We are going to get in, get some nuggets, and then get out. Welcome. We are on day 29 of our 30-day challenge. We have one more day left for you to advance on purpose. Note, all the replays will be available so you can always catch it on Facebook and or you can catch it on YouTube, maybe easier on YouTube because it's organized a little bit differently. But we are here, day 29. Listen, yesterday we were focusing on the fact that we must, and I mean must, navigate employee conduct. And I just like to say with grace, okay? With grace. And so, if you missed any of that, all the things that you need to know, please go back and watch the replay, day 28. And again, that information will be there for you. Today, buckle up. We're going to again come in and go out. We are looking at a topic that a lot of us kind of just overlook. We don't think about people in this terms. However, it's important that we create spaces not just for our people, but it's important to create spaces for everybody, for everyone to grow. And so our focus today is going to be on the understanding that executive leaders need grace too. And so a lot of times we don't like to think about that particular aspect, but we should be creating a space for everybody. And you might be wondering, what does this have to do with it? Well, listen, mid-career women looking for growth and promotion. In your upward journey, you're going to be interacting with more top leadership, and you need to understand the human aspect, how these roles come to play, and the more nuanced view of cultural organization. And so, our talking points for today, we're going to be I can't even say it, humanizing leadership. We are going to talk about influence and reciprocity, and then just plain old open dialogue. But before we jump in, if you've been with us, you know we like to make sure we do a roll call. Let us know. If you're a return person, just give us a wave. But if you're new, let us know your name and where you're tuning in from. And again, live or the replay, because we want to acknowledge you. We are here definitely first and foremost for mid-career women, because we want you all to be able to level up to executive level positions. And we want to be able to make sure, if you have questions, reach out. Doesn't matter if you're watching this week or a month from now. If you have questions, reach out. Also, let us know if this information is resonating with you. So we would love to hear you in the comments. Definitely let us know. Are we on point? Have we reached your market? Is there something else that you're looking for? And so that definitely is good information to know. And if this is your first time with us, welcome. Buckle up. I normally tell a quick story because I believe in the power of the story. I think that we can learn so much from each other's stories and stories in general, how to achieve, how to succeed, how to learn from people's mistakes. We can just learn so much in a story. And if you're curious, because we're on day 29 of my story, I tell in day one. So please go back to that replay to hear why Miranda Denise Watson, why are you doing this? And you can get to hear that. And so today we're going to talk about this story that I think really encapsulates the fact that we should, or I hope that at the end of this, that we will look at executive leaders and we be willing to give them grace. And I think that that's kind of crucial. So we're going to talk about two executives, one by the name of Patty, one by the name of Jen, both highly competent, but their teams had two totally different perspectives. So Patty's team sees her as this infallible leader who demands perfection. So we got to get it right the first time, and it has to be right. So perfection. They feel stress, unable to communicate their challenges because they see Miss Patty as someone who doesn't necessarily want to sit down and talk about what's going wrong, because Miss Patty believes, let's get her done right the first time. You should have already, know what you're doing, how to do it. No mistakes here. Over embellishing just a little bit, but that's kind of how they felt. Like she wasn't able to communicate very well, and Patty, not realizing the undue pressure, becomes increasingly disappointed when her team doesn't seem to really come alive, and it seems like they maybe lack a little bit of commitment. Now, Jen's team, on the other hand, they see her as this awesome human. But note I said human. So they see her as a human leader, and she openly acknowledges her challenges and she encourages dialogue. And so the environment is a one of collaboration and growth. And the people feel supported by Jim, even with her being in the role that she is. Everyone around her feels comfortable. And so there is such a drastic difference and between Jen's team and that understanding, as compared to the other team. And I still think even in both scenarios, I'm going to offer that as Patty is learning, she will become better at what she's supposed to do and to be able to create these things. However, we as humans need to give other humans grace. We just do. And so let's go ahead and jump into our first point, humanizing leadership, and actually putting human into the leadership, because it's often seen as untouchable, unapproachable. You have to be this way. If you're not this way, then this is the other acceptable way. And if you're not doing both one of those two ways, then you're doing something wrong. If you don't do it my way, then your way is wrong. So some people look at it as though leadership is just hands off, unapproachable concept. However, when we remember that leaders are human, especially at the executive level, we help to build an atmosphere of empathy and understanding. I spoke about empathy a lot, and generally I've spoken about it in terms as a leader giving it to their subordinate. However, there is a thing of being able to give empathy to the people that may be more senior to us. empathy is just not one directional. And so that's what I'm really coming to share. Empathy is not just one directional. Leaders aren't infallible. They do make mistakes, and recognizing that they too are prone to mistakes and challenges, that allows for a culture where difficulties are addressed collectively rather than hidden out of fear. And moreover, humanizing leadership can break down the barriers that exist between leaders and their teams. This can be achieved through simply acknowledging leaders as humans and by extension of their teams. So when leaders themselves become approachable, they can better understand the needs of their team members. Their team members are more likely to bring issues forward when they come about, and they'll bring them to their attention. And that's what we want. We don't want to be out here seeing that, okay, we're doing this, and our team members have the ability to come and say, hey, Angela, I think I should tell you this. I'd rather that conversation than her not saying anything, and then it blows up and you have no knowledge of it. You must be a human in the workplace. You must be a human to your staff. Our second point: influence and reciprocity. Understanding that executive leaders need grace will help you to exercise your influence more effectively. When those at the top feel supported and understood, they are more likely to reciprocate the support. And don't you want the support of your senior leadership? Again, two-way street, and you're creating it. And yes, most of the time you will actually have to create it. However, it's within your sphere and you can do it. So those who feel supported understand how to reciprocate that support most of the time, at any rate. And this is going to be beneficial for your growth, as well as really you are exhibiting, embodying diversity, equity, and inclusion in such meaningful ways. Influence can be a powerful tool in the organization by building your team's trust and respect with those in position of power. You can gain greater influence within your organization, and this influence can be used to push and advocate for a positive change that sometimes is just your one way in, and then you can really implement change. This influence, again, can be pushed for positive change, whether it be in having more equitable hiring practices, perhaps advocating more for your team, advocating for more diversity, equity, and inclusion. Any of those things, you can do it in a more meaningful way when you are making sure you're coming out on top. And this is one of the ways that you can do that. Influence, again, is a powerful tool. And literally, when you do these things, you set yourself up, you set your team up, you set the organization up for success in a positive working environment and culture. You can, it may be slow. I'm not saying that it's a slow process to change culture, or I'm not saying it's a fast process, but it can change. And you can start with your environment, and you can start with your sphere of influence. So, our third point is going to be open dialogue. By extending grace to your executive leaders, you facilitate an environment that encourages open dialogue. This line of open communication is critical for presenting your ideals. Always understand there is some reason. How did me being kind in this way, how can that be shown back? Me being kind in this way, perhaps then I can lobby for this other positive thing. I know sometimes when we think about executive leaders and super senior leadership, we think, oh, they're inhuman. They're people who really aren't at the ground, not listening. Sometimes senior leadership, executive leadership comes with a really, really bad brand and people are looked at poorly. However, I encourage you, just like you nurture your relationships with your team, you can nurture your relationships and you can teach people how to deal with people. People are watching you all. And the question becomes, are you doing good or are you doing bad? And I would hope that it you would want to do good. And so extending grace to executive leadership is doing good and it's helping to create and facilitate such a positive trend and a positive open dialogue. And so, open dialogue is essential for any organization if you want to grow and to improve. When team members feel that they can speak openly and honestly with their leaders, they're more likely to share their ideals, their concern, their feedback. They will talk to you, but they're not going to talk if we just don't create these moments when we can give grace versus turning away or speaking ill. And so when team members, again, when they feel like they can speak openly, they create synergy. Talked about synergy before, but they help to create synergy in your team environment. And this is going to lead to more collaborative working environments where everyone is working towards that common goal. And they're going to foster that environment where your ideals will be heard, will be listened to, and your employees, your teammates, they are going to feel valued and they're going to feel heard. And that just creates its own beautifulness within itself. And so, if you've been with me, you know we give gift giveaways. I have your gift we gave away a couple of days ago. It is still within the Facebook group. So please use that QR code and excuse how the screen. I know the screen looks crazy, y'all. It's okay. It's okay. It really is okay. And so I was going to say, use that QR code. Definitely join the Facebook group. You too can get our ebook. It's Be Your Confidence, where you literally are going to read this ebook. You're going to take those steps within it. So your confidence will outshine. Your confidence will be seen from the inside out. And so I would love for you all to get that. So definitely join the Facebook Next Level Progression Tribe, and you too can get that ebook. It will definitely be there at least until tomorrow. And so to recap for today, we've discussed the importance of executive leaders, and that's I am asking you. Provide executive leaders grace. Again, we provide it, we preach it for us to do it for our subordinates. It's the right thing to do with everyone. And so we've delved into the ideal that we need to make sure we remember leaders are human, and that's going to create more empathy, and it's going to create a better working environment. We also talked about how to positively influence our own leadership, encouraging a two-way street of openness. And that is going to do wonders for us. And then we talked about, or at least how your mindset can foster an open dialogue. And that's critical for you, for your team, for your organization when we're talking about personal growth and organizational growth. We must open the lines of communication. And I say that that starts for you, and it goes when you teach others how you want to be treated, how others should be treated. We create this culture, and we need to start creating more positive, better cultures. And again, you have that opportunity. And so, you all know, if you've been with me, I like to end with a quote. And I think this is a pretty cool quote. I define a leader as anyone who takes responsibility for finding the potential in people and processes, and who has the courage to develop that potential. Brene Brown. And I think that that quote really ties in because it's emphasizing the role of leaders in nourishing. And again, I know it's a different concept because most of the time we're talking about people that may report to us, or they're again our subordinates in some type of way. But I'm asking for you to extend that to executive levels. And besides, you are a career or a mid-career woman, and your end all may be an executive level, and you too would want grace extended to you. And so join me tomorrow, one more day, night, afternoon, depending on how you're catching this, for more insight and great nuggets. It's my goal to help you move up in your career, and you deserve to advance on purpose.